Construction Math. Today we're going to be talking about scalar multiplication of matrices. It sounds so much scarier than it actually is. So, in Bellward, think about a time in your life when you had to give this exact same thing to everyone. Write down an example on your note taker. Teacher pause the video and have the students share with their partners. You call on non-volunteers and I'll meet you back here in a couple minutes. Welcome back. When I was thinking about it, I remembered in elementary school when you were supposed to give a Valentine to everybody in your class so no one felt badly. Maybe you have to give a present to all your brothers and sisters. Maybe at the meal when you're serving it up in the kitchen, everybody gets 1 scoop of peas, 2 scoops of potatoes, and 1 piece of meat. You've given the same thing to everybody. Now, basic arithmetic check today is to make sure that you can multiply positives and negatives together. Don't use a calculator on this. Copy down any missing terms and go ahead and work this on your paper. I'll meet you back here in a minute. Welcome back. Let's go to our slate and see how we can do. Number 1, let's review. Number 1 said to take -7 times -5. Remember, there's a couple ways to write multiplication. We could write it like this. I could write it like this. We either use the raised dot or we use the parentheses. Anyway, when I take a negative times a negative, it becomes a positive. 7 times 5 is 35. And there's my answer. Problem number 2 said to take the fraction 1/3 and multiply it by -15. If you remember back to our lesson on unit conversion, when we talked about when we had to have a whole number and use it with fractions, we always made it over 1. So a positive times a negative gives me a negative. 1 times 15 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3. When I divide 3 into 15, I get -5, or I could have just canceled. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 15 5 times. So 1 times -5 gives me -5 over 1, gave me the same answer. Number 3, I have -1/5 times -5/11. We're multiplying fractions, both of them are fractions. A negative times a negative became the positive. I think I'll cancel right here because I see a 5 in the denominator and a 5 in the numerator. So I get the answer of 1/11. Remember, it's positive because a negative times a negative is a positive. How'd you do? If you did well on this, the rest of the lesson will be very easy for you. Okay. Let's go back to our PowerPoint and let's see if I got those same answers when I worked it. Yep, I did. So now, our objectives for today. Add the missing terms to your note taker. First, we're going to define terminology. We're going to define scalar multiplication of a matrix. We're going to multiply a matrix by a scalar. And we're going to use scalar multiplication of a matrix for real-world problems. So let's see. Copy it down and teacher start the video again when they're finished. Welcome back. So our one word for today is scalar. In the world of matrices, there's 2 things. We have scalar numbers, which are just real numbers. We use term scalar in terms of a matrix to stress that it is a real number, not a matrix. So 5 is a scalar, 1/2 is a scalar, 0 is a scalar. So draw a picture, define it in your own words, and write a meaningful sentence. Teacher, pause the video, have them share their meaningful sentences with their partners, and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes. Welcome back. Scalar multiplication. When you multiply any matrix by a constant, or what we call a scalar, you multiply each element by the scalar. So if we take the scalar times the matrix A, B, C, D, we get S times A, S times B, S times C, S times D. Do you see a pattern? Take about 30 seconds and think about it, and I'll meet you back here. Welcome back. Now, here are the connections. These are properties in math. We have the commutative property that says A plus B is the same thing as B plus A, and multiplication is A times B is the same thing as B times A. Associative says I've changed who's inside the parentheses, not the order, but who's in the parentheses. Identities are when I add 0 to a number, it stays the same number, or when I multiply a number by 1, it stays the same. Inverses are when I add an opposite, and the distributive property is like A times B plus C would be A times B plus A times C. What I want you to do is look at those 5 properties and decide, is scalar multiplication, which one does it remind you of? So discuss with your partner which property scalar multiplication reminds you of and why. So teacher, pause the video, have students discuss, call on non-volunteers, and let's see. Welcome back. Thumbs up or thumbs down, did you decide it was like the distributive property of multiplication? Because we have a number out in front that we multiplied by every term inside the grouping symbol. That's what it reminds me of. So let's hope that was what it reminded you of too. So here's an example. I want to take 6 times the matrix, negative 1, 4. Row 2 would be 0, 1/2. Row 3 would be row 3 would be negative 10, negative 1/3. So let's go ahead and go to our slate. And I'm going to take 6 times the matrix, negative 1, 4. I've got 0, 1/2. And I've got negative 10, negative 1/3. So I'm going to take that negative 6 times each element in the matrix. So I can rewrite it as 6 times negative 1, 6 times 4, 6 times 0, 6 times 1/2. Oops, that's the funkiest looking 1/2 I've ever drawn. All right, 6 times negative 10, and 6 times negative 1/3. When you multiply a scalar times a matrix, its dimension stays exactly the same. So 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 1/2, 1/2 of 6 is 3. 6 times negative 10 is negative 60. And then 6 times negative 1/3. Let's just make sure I can get this right. I'm going to write them as fractions. 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. And there's my answer. Easy peasy. All right, fill that in on your note taker and pause the video if you need to, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. Let's clear off the slate and let's go back to our PowerPoint. And let's see exactly what I did and exactly the same answers that I got on my slate. So let's see. You try these two. You don't have to worry in scalar multiplication. You can always do the problems. So teacher, pause the video, have the students work these 2 problems out, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. Welcome back. Let's see what we did. So let's go to our slate. Let me get to the right place on my PowerPoint. Number 1 of the you try said to take negative 2 times negative 4, 9, and 1/2. Now, you don't have to write this second step if you don't want to, but I am just for clarity. I'm going to take negative 2 times negative 4. I'm going to take negative 2 times 9. I'm going to take negative 2 times 1/2. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Negative 2 times 9 is negative 18. Negative 2 times 1/2 is negative 1. There we go. Let's check to make sure I got it right. I think I did. Number 2 is just a bigger matrix, and it has a fraction as its scalar out in front. We take negative 2/3 times negative 6/12. We have 0, negative 9 as our second row. Our third row is 18 and 3. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm going to take negative 2/3 times 6. I'm going to put the 6 over 1 to make it easier. I'm going to take negative 13 times 12, put the 12 over 1. I'm going to take negative 2/3 times 0. I'm going to take negative 2/3 times 9, so I'm going to put it 9 over 1. I'm going to take negative 2/3 times 18 and make 18 over 1, and I'm going to put negative 2/3 times 3 over 1. That way they're all set up, just ready for me to cancel. Let's see. 3 goes into 3 one time and into 6 twice. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. 3 goes into 3 once and into 12 4 times. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Anything times 0 is just 0. 3 goes into 3 one time and into 9 3 times. So negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Here we've got 18, so 3 goes into 3 once and into 18 6 times. Negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Here the 3's just cancel, and I get negative 2. How'd you do? I hope you did well. Teacher, pause the video if the students need to finish checking their answers, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. Welcome back. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. Let's check the answers. We already worked them. We've got a perfect answer. So here, applications in construction. The construction company hires the following workers. The construction manager is going to get $47 per hour. Wish that was my job. A plumber's going to get $26, and a carpenter's going to get $23 an hour. So please add that to your note taker, those rates of pay, and let's see what we need to do. Now, 2 things I need you to do is 1, write this as a matrix, and 2, use scalar multiplication to find the amount of their raise if they've received a 10% raise. So let's think about this. You do number 1, write a matrix for this. All right. Pause the video. I'll meet you back here in a minute. Welcome back. Let's go to our slates. All right. So first of all, we had the construction manager, we had the plumber, and we had the carpenter. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the rates. $47 an hour. The plumber got $26 an hour, and the carpenter got $23 an hour. And up here you could say rate of pay or whatever you want. As long as it has the dollar sign, it's fine. Now, we said they're going to get a 10% raise. So what that means is they're still going to get their regular salary. So they're going to get 100% of their regular salary plus a 10% raise. So now they're going to have their new salary is 110% of their old salary. So I'm going to use this, change it into a decimal by moving the decimal 2 places, and I'm going to put 1.1 out here. And I'm going to multiply 47, 26, and 23. Take a second, use your calculators, and compute the answers for the construction manager's new salary, the plumber's new salary, and the carpenter's new salary. Welcome back. Let's see. 47 times 1.1 is 47, 47, 7, 1, 5. So he's now making $51.70 an hour. The plumber is 26 times 1.1, so I get 26, 26, 682. So he gets $28.60 an hour. And the guy the carpenter that makes 23, it's 23 and 23, he's going to make $25.30 an hour. Boy, that raise really brought them up. That was a nice thing to have happen. So teacher, pause the video until students are ready, and then we'll come back in a minute. Welcome back. Let's clear that off. Let's go back to our PowerPoint. And here we go. I think on this, I just figured out, use scalar multiplication to figure out their raise. And on the slate, I figured out how much they were making. So either answer would be okay because I made a little boo-boo there. All right, now you try it. You put this as a matrix and write this on your note taker, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. Okay, so we're going to do that. Now you've created a matrix. Check with your partner and see if you got the same answer I did. I just pretty much kept it in the same order. I put it in the matrix symbols, which if you don't have the matrix symbols, it's wrong. And then I put the 2x4s, the 4x8s, the 2x6s, and the 4x6s, 8 feet and 10 feet. I labeled everything and put the numbers in. Now try scalar multiplication. You've got this new matrix. The following data is from repairs performed by the repair department of a local builder. We have painting issues to take care of, plumbing, air conditioning, and electrical. So write a matrix for this situation. And then the repair department has assured the service providers this will triple in February. So use scalar multiplication to find out how many repairs will be done in February. So teacher, pause the video, and I'll meet you back here in a minute to check. Welcome back. Let's check. So I put 3. I decided I was just going to label on, because it was difficult, I was going to label just my answer matrix, but I had 3 and I had times my matrix, so I took 3 times 30 and got 90 paint repairs on the east side. I took 3 times 20 and got 60 paint repairs on the north side. Plumbing repairs for the east side was 3 times 25, which is 75. 3 times 12, which is 36 for plumbing repairs on the north side. 3 times 40 was 120 air conditioning repairs on the east side. 3 times 39, or 3 times 13 was 39 air conditioning repairs on the north side. Electrical repairs, 3 times 35 was 105 electrical repairs, and 3 times 19 is 57 electrical repairs on the north side. Boy, I hope by the next time they come, those numbers go down instead of go up. So please check your answers. Pause the video if students need to. And I'll meet you back here in a minute. Welcome back. Again, we're ready for closure. So in 140 characters or less, explain how you do scalar multiplication. Teacher, have the students compare with their partner and then call on non-volunteers. And I'll meet you back here for another math and construction lesson some other day.